Hey you guys, Jerry Mateo with Music Marketing TV, and today we're going to be taking a look at D16 Group's Devastor 2. This is a very powerful multi-band distortion unit with a ridiculous amount of control. So let's just go straight into it, and let me show you what we have going on today. Let's solo this out. We have a bass synth. I'm going to bypass the plugin. I'm going to show you what I have. This has 0 plugins on it except for Devastor 2. As you can hear from it, it sounds like a kind of wimpy sounding bass line. And inside the track itself, it doesn't actually stand out that much. Let me bring it out. Let's bring in Devastor 2. Stands out a lot more. Cool. So let me show you what's going on here. We have the shaper section, which basically has this dynamics, which is from hard to none, and this allows you to control the dynamic range of the incoming signal, allowing you to hit the clipping section a lot more consistently or a lot less consistently, basically allowing you to have a more predictable sound or a more dynamic sound. You have the preamp section, which allows you to either not boost into it at all or boost into the clipping section by 48 dBs. You have a threshold, which goes from -48 to 0 dBs, and this is the clipper section. You have the shape, which basically allows you to shape the clipping shape that you've actually selected. This will basically allow you to kind of color everything and change the way it sounds very smoothly. You have 6 different clipping shapes. Each one of them has a completely different sound and distorts completely differently depending on the incoming signal and the threshold and the dynamics. You also have 9 very unique routing function. You also have 3 very powerful filters. Each of them goes from 20 Hz all the way to 20 kilohertz. They all have a resonance or bandwidth feature, which is 0 to max, and they can boost up to 12 dBs of gain. They all have 4 different functions, or 5 if you include their off, but they have a low pass, band pass, high pass, and band reject. You have a built-in brick wall limiter, which will basically gain into the plugin and add a little bit more volume, but also prevent you from clipping, and a very smooth and very useful dry wet knob. The output volume can go all the way from negative infinity or mute up to 12 dBs of gain. So let us go into the browser section of this and let me show you how we have a really nice selection of sounds. We have things from 303 lines, basses, bus and master setups, drums, guitars, and keyboards. This plugin is actually very useful if you're a guitar player and you want to have your own customized shaping or clipping function. It's very much like a distortion pedal, and for drums you can really get a nice crush sound. Let's go into this and let's go into the basses and let's see what type of sounds we can actually get. We'll start with the 6x6 and let's actually solo this out and let's see what we can get. That sounds cool. Let's try Acidity 4. Try bass leftovers. Let's try this high shelf Dooms. That sounds pretty nice. Speaking of which, so I actually like subtle compression. So let's just click on that. Let me show you how that sounds stock versus bypassed. Now the reason why I like subtle compression is because it is just that subtle. So now I can control it and destroy it any way I want. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into here and we're going to kind of mess with things ourselves. Let's just press play and let's see what we come up with. Let's gain into the preamp section. Let's add a little bit less of a threshold. And let's see what the shaping does. Let's see if this asymmetric. I'm liking that. I'm going to leave the signal routing to all posts. I figure that that's probably the most simple way to use this. But let's see what these cutoff filters sound like. Try the band pass. High pass. And let's try the band reject. These are all really smooth. Now, for this preset, I'm noticing we're not using it at all, and I think that's a good choice. I want this to sound as natural as possible without the most change. But let's see how this actually sounds if we go all the way wet. Bypass it. Okay, cool. So we're adding a nice amount of color. We're not really going to mess with the limiter because I don't really want to gain volume, but I am going to bring my output down and bring my mix to about 62% dry. Now, What I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm not gaining any actual volume, but I'm gaining apparent volume. So I'm not gaining peak volume, but only RMS. Let's bypass this and press play. Let's take this out of bypass. That sounds pretty good. I'm actually thinking we could gain this up a little bit more. And let's see how that sounds. Cool. Let's try this original clipping that we had. I'm actually digging that. I like that little bit of hair, and we'll bring down the volume. So now what we'll do, take this out of solo, we'll bypass it, and we'll see what type of sounds we're getting from it. Here we go. I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to press play. So you notice that it basically is completely tucked under in the mix. We're going to turn it on right now and see how it stands out. And take a note that this is the same output volume, but it has a lot more life and a lot more character. Put it back in. And there you have it. This is Devastator 2 from D16 Group. It's a really, really powerful, really easy to use plugin, and I really do suggest checking it out. Anyway, that's all the time we have for today. This is Jerry Mateo with Music Marketing TV, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye.